Virgulino Ferreira da Silva is one of the most famous and controversial figures in the history of Brazil. Virgulino Ferreira da Silva is one of the greatest symbols of the Brazilian Northeast. A leader of the cangaceiro movement, this figure has been essentially controversial since his time, being an unscrupulous bandit for some and a heroic vigilante for others. Born in 1898 in the city of Serra Talhada in Pernambuco, Lampião died in a police ambush against the gangs in 1938 in the Gruta dos Anjicos in Sergipe. Discover 10 interesting facts about Lampião, the king of the Cangaco. 1. A governor with a certain arrogance and egocentrism. Lampião used to say that his dream was to be governor of a new alternative backland state formed by the regions that had the most influence, with portions of the states of Bahia, Pernambuco, Alagoas, and Sergipe. 2. Lampião was a deeply religious and superstitious man, practicing classic backwoods Catholicism, related to the forces of nature. He inevitably respected priests, especially Father Cicero, whom he considered his patron saint. Every noon, he would stop to pray and fast on Fridays. At the heart of his faith was the proposition that his body was sealed against evil. 3. Midwife. With the increase in the number of women in the bandits, the number of births also increased, since there were no doctors on hand. Lampião himself learned and performed the procedures, using the techniques he knew from the time he cared for cattle. However, all of this occurred in very unsanitary conditions and with undemanding treatment. 4. Princess of the Cangaco Lampião and Maria Bonita had a daughter in 1932, named Expedita. As was customary in the Cangaco, it was necessary to decide the child's fate, and since they did not want the girl to grow up in banditry, she was handed over to an ally of the king of the Cangaco so that she could have her uncle João Ferreira as her guardian. All of this happened in the utmost secrecy, and the case was treated as a kind of state secret. 5. Physiognomy in a report in the newspaper O Serra in 1926. A reporter describes the king of the Cangaco during his time in Juazeiro do Norte. According to the report, Lampião was thin and dark-skinned, with thick black hair, a felt hat without frills, and leather espadrilles, like those worn by cowboys. He wore a green scarf around his neck, with a ring holding, in addition to this, 6 more rings with precious stones, as well as a rifle, a pistol, and a dagger. 6. Alcohol nights of drinking and fun were very common in the Cangaco, but Lampião was not very fond of drinking alcohol, although he liked it, especially cognac. Even so, he did not drink much. 7. A taste for literature. Despite not being the best reader in the world, Lampião liked to stop and read, especially newspapers that he picked up while traveling between cities. His greatest pleasure was reading articles written about himself in newspapers, as well as magazines that came from Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. He would spend hours reading or listening to what someone read to him. 8. Perfume cangaceiro. In a situation where bathing was a rarity, Lampião used good quality perfumes in large quantities. He liked to steal expensive imported perfumes from the capitals, which he would mix with the smell of sweat and the brilliantine used in his hair, creating a unique mixture of smells that became a trademark of the Cangaco. There are reports of widespread perfume baths, which even reached draft animals, to improve the smell of the gang. 9. Supernatural powers. For many police officers and police officers, Lampião genuinely had superpowers, as it was inconceivable how he managed to escape and leave no trace of his presence. However, the secret of the king of Cangaco was strategy, as he commanded a gang and performed ingenious actions in which he erased all evidence of his presence, such as erasing footprints and even walking backwards to confuse pursuers. 10. Diverted ammunition. One reason for debate to this day is the source of ammunition that was used without much sparing from Lampião's gang. In order to never lose sight of the origin of the bullets, the bandit never allowed them to be discovered. However, it is possible to affirm that this origin is based on the connections that Lampião had with the powerful people of the Backlands and the Agreste, associated with farmers, politicians, colonels, and merchants. it becomes intuitive to think that these contacts provided him with ammunition.